Trapmore gang, I've got one of the craziest and darkest stories that I've covered on this channel for a long time for you today. This is going on in Canada. Apparently, this man who just lost his life was actually a gang hitman who may have had as many as 7, maybe more, some people are saying, bodies under his belt. He was somebody that was beloved on one side of a gang war, and he was very much hated on the other side of the gang war. He was apparently very, very deeply involved in a few different street feuds that stretch all across Canada. And one of the craziest things about this story that I'm going to tell you is he was allegedly killed inside his own home by contract killers who then took a picture of his body after they executed him and then burnt the house down with the body inside to destroy the evidence. And that picture from before the house was burned is now being circulated online, with some people believing that this hit was carried out by professional Canadian hitmen who do this type of contract killing as regular everyday business. I'm going to break it all down to you in this video, but before I get to it, I just want to give everyone a trigger warning. I'm not going to show you anything violent in this video, but there is some very, very disturbing stuff that is going around this situation. And I just want to warn you, this is definitely a story that's not for the lighthearted, and rest in peace to the young man who lost his life in this story, even though there are rumors that he may well have taken a number of lives. So let's get into it, okay? This is the guy himself. He goes by 32 times, and this is the Vancouver Sun confirming that it was 32 times who was found dead in the burning home in Surrey, British Columbia. Okay, and this is what they're saying about him on Reddit. It says, I'm not surprised. Surrey was allegedly involved in multiple homicides in British Columbia and other provinces, and he constantly dissed the dead. The fact they burnt the house down after killing him wasn't to destroy evidence, but a message and to show disrespect. His death is going to cause a lot of retaliation in British Columbia. So this is the reporting from the Vancouver Sun. It says, brothers, keepers, gangster, and alleged hitman, all right? That's not me. It's not self-stitching, you know, oh, you're the feds. This is the Vancouver Sun, and the authorities are saying this guy was a hitman, all right? And he apparently rolled with the brothers keepers. Now, you're going to hear he apparently had ties to the crew BFR, all right, which obviously Presser and his brother Boondog, that's kind of their record label. It's a crew. They're very internationally known, international budness from what I'm hearing, okay? But he 32 times was apparently tapped in with a whole bunch of different gangs from all across Canada. And here they're saying that he was a member of the Brothers Keepers and was a serious hitman, right? He was found dead in his home. Real name Nassim Ali Mohammed was found dead in a burning Surrey house on Monday, only a short time after returning to Canada, which makes it even more interesting, right? He is international budness. That's what they be saying, all right? These guys in Canada, they be doing crazy shit internationally, hits, all type of stuff, all right? I don't want to say too much, but basically it says he just returned to Canada from the Middle East. Nassim Ali Mohammed, also known as Lil Man for his short stature, was believed to have been shot in the house before it was set ablaze. The Integrated Homicide Investigation Team wouldn't comment about the identity, but numerous social media posts have gone around, and the police and underworld sources have confirmed to Post Media that Mohammed was indeed the victim. It was a targeted incident with potential nexus to organized crime. And so the Homicide Squad are basically working with the Anti-Gang Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit to advance the investigation. All right. And look, I'm not going to show this to you here, but it has been shared around on Reddit. And it says Post Media has obtained a copy of a photograph that appears to be Mohammed after he was shot with blood all over the right side of his face. Interestingly enough, it says property owner was approached by a realtor who wanted a month-long short-term rental about a week before the murder, so he'd just gotten into the house. He said the family only wanted to rent the house assessed at $2.9 million for 2 weeks, but agreed to the month when the realtor, who declined to be named, offered $10,000. The realtor paid $5,000 cash, $5,000 by e-transfer. He said he never saw Mohammed or knew that he was staying at the house. And basically the family's former home that Sandhu built himself. So he was apparently known, recently was detained by the US Border Patrol. Okay, he was known in these streets, all right? And it says, we don't know that he's going to bring this guy. And the realtor basically spoke after the body was found. So I don't know what happened. He kept denying like this. Police wouldn't let him into the house Monday to see how bad the damage was. People saying, I feel so sad. The guy's saying, I feel so sad about about my house. It says, in recent days, Mohammed, a rapper who uses the identity 32 times and Walat, begun posting videos again on his Instagram account showing him in a vehicle driving around Surrey. He was released from a US prison in fall 2024 and had been living in Dubai, kept a low profile, but remained a suspect in several gang murder cases in British Columbia and another province. News circulated. Rivals in the UN gang posted images on their social media accounts drinking champagne. One showed a cake with writing on it saying 32 times got smoked with a happy face in red icing. Mohammed posted many similar messages over the years after his enemies were murdered. In one video posted after gangster Gary Kang was killed in Surrey 2021, Mohammed flashed a firearm and boasted about the high cost of his Louis Vuitton backpack and said F Bebo, a reference to Kang's gang. I will smoke you myself, you're all pussies. All right. He's a serious guy. It says, what's left of Bebo has joined the UN gang, now the main rival of the Brothers Keepers. Mohammed's murder came 3 days after Navpreet Dhaliwal, who was aligned with the Brothers Keepers, was fatally shot in his parents' home, and he was on bail after being charged in a 2024 murder conspiracy. The IHIT was called in to investigate another fatal shooting after a body was found on the 3500 block of 176th Street on a farm property. The Surrey police confirmed the victim was found before noon, and there was no information linking it to other murder cases. So he spent almost 3 years in a Washington state prison after pleading guilty to armed robbery in April 2022 for pulling a gun on 2 strangers in a Seattle area hookah lounge several months earlier, and he got 41 months for that. He was also charged in Ontario 2019 with unlawful confinement, assault, pointing a firearm, uttering death threats, theft and robbery. Mohammed skipped town while on bail at his parents' Surrey home, and the charges were later stayed. So this guy had a lot of chances. He was also caught with 3 men after crossing the border in Montana on January the 23rd, 2021. He told US authorities he was an American named Bati Ahmed. Although he had no ID on him, they checked his fingerprints in the database but found no match, and they let him go. And they later learned from Canadian authorities that he was wanted back on the other side of the border. And a US federal court affidavit filed in 2021 by Border Patrol agents claimed he was a high-ranking member of the Brothers Keepers gang. Canadian authorities advise he's the primary suspect in multiple gang-related homicides. And basically, they didn't have details on the murders at the time, but basically, then he turned up at the Empire Hookah Lounge. He threatened 2 men with a Glock if they didn't hand over their jewelry. While he was in jail, his older brother, Samer, was shot to death in Brampton, Ontario in September 2022. And at the time, the Sergeant of British Columbia's Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit said the elder brother's keeper had fled to Ontario because of the threats against him in British Columbia. He's an individual with a well-documented history of being involved in the local gang landscape. Unfortunately, we've seen too many times they could not hide from their past. And when he was just 21, Mohammed traveled to Russia along with Toronto rapper Presser and was featured in a YouTube video of the trip. He posted regularly on his Instagram account showing stacks of cash, watches, and jewelry, and he posted pictures of a $20,000 pair of Air Jordans that he bought at a Richmond store. Now, I've got over a dozen, probably 2 dozen links about this situation, okay? That was the most comprehensive article, all right? Some people are not feeling it in the comments, but basically, on Torontology is saying he got a rental spot under a realtor's name. How did they get the drop on him? People saying maybe the realtor gave the drop in exchange for some money. People saying I heard he got drugged and shot in the head. People saying he drugged himself with all the pills and lean. And they're saying, so another Brothers Keepers member died last week. Is it internal politics or are they just getting the belt? People saying it could be internal conflicts, but they doubt it. Certainly was a respected and high-ranking member in the Brothers Keepers and was close friends to Daniel Grewal, who is Gavin de Grewal's cousin, the founder and leader of the Brothers Keepers. Unless he effed up or snitched, I highly doubt it was internal conflict. It was most definitely the UN. All right? It says, based on the article, sounds like they got all the info from this Reddit page. It says, was he on the run before for killing a kid that stepped out of a taxi, or am I thinking of something different? Apparently that was the murder of Tequil Willis, and apparently he was linked to the Jason and Jassy killings as well. I feel like maybe Jason is that referring to the guy from the GGGs? I'm not sure. But there's pictures of the house after it was burned, and people are saying it really looks like a nightmare, like the real Nightmare on Elm Street, and it does look super chilling, super creepy, the state that the property was left in. To kill someone in their own home and then take a picture of their body and then set the place on fire is absolutely wild. I've never seen anything like it. And, you know, rest in peace, man. They're saying he went out like Kane. People are saying these British Columbia guys don't play by the same rules. They actually get their targets. People saying big-ass crib still. He was living in a very exclusive and high-end neighborhood. He was saying, so you really telling me they took a snap of him and then burned the crib? And that is what happened. Now, an alleged picture of his body did circulate online, which was apparently taken before the fire. I don't want to show you this on screen because it is really gruesome. It's really sad. But what I will do is show you some of the comments. In the comments, they're saying this looks like some cartel stuff to prove he's 100% gone. I know there's a video. This was definitely a paid hit. And there's a rumor that I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but there was a rumor that there was actually a video of him being urinated on in the property. That's a rumor that I've been hearing, but I don't know if that's true. I don't want to see that video. If that is a real thing, I'm not trying to fucks with any of these Canadian gangsters ever again. I don't want any of that smoke. Saying dudes got in the crib, killed him, and burnt it down. It was definitely a paid hit. They got it done in general. These dudes in British Columbia got real hitters. They do this shit all over. Says, I mean, as horrific as the situation is, at least he was dead before the house burnt down. Burning to death is probably one of the worst ways to go. People saying they caught him super lacking. He was about to go to bed. They're saying dudes can't even wear the bonnet freely anymore. Look, I'm not going to show you the picture, but he is wearing like a... Oh, for fuck's sake. We really got to do that. That's crazy. I'll have to blur that. Man, it's crazy. People saying that getting killed in the bonnet is crazy. R.I.P. Man. People saying I knew his days was numbered when he posted himself in northern Vancouver the other day. He has rich enemies. R.I.P. 32 times, but fuck. He stays with a glizzy. Not sure why he didn't have dogs. When you're isolated, the only thing that will save you is a pit bull or cane corso. They will alert you to the threat. Then you grab your guns and do what's necessary to protect your life. Okay. Says look like they got him in his sleep. Posting a pic after is wild. Saying a shorty definitely lined him up, put something in his drink or something and opened the door. Saying GGG or the towns would never be able to pull off something like this. This was professional. They got him in his sleep, burned the house down, and got rid of the evidence. Now, I'm going to be really careful what I show you going forward. But basically, the Canadian authorities, as we saw in that article, they made it very clear that he was the suspect in numerous homicides all over Canada in multiple provinces. And this says, seeing dudes traveling the world, enjoying life, then going back to their home city to get smoked is crazy. You got to get rich and relocate for real. But it says they'll get you anywhere if they want you bad enough. So, yeah, that's crazy. That's actually crazy. So he was apparently getting a lot of money. Now, as it was mentioned in that article that I showed you at the beginning, he had apparently spent like damn near $30,000 on a pair of Jordan Dior's. And this is the video they're referring to when they're basically saying this is a throwback to when Surtees spent $1.5 bricks on some Dior Jordans. And they're saying RIP to the richest spiller. And they're calling for 20 for 1. Which, if you didn't know, is a reference to when THF Bezu, the Chicago gangster who was locked in with the crew THF, Trigger Happy Family, he's also close with Lil Durk and OTF. He basically got killed, and they said they're going to kill 20 people in revenge for him. So people are actually calling for the same thing to happen with 32 times. But this is him basically bigging up that he spent a lot of money, and this is on Boondog's, I believe this is on Boondog's story, or Boondog from BFR is kind of broadcasting this. But yeah.
Oh, receipt, da-da-da-da. Stay Fresh. He bought it from Stay Fresh. He bought it from Stay Fresh. You guys know that's a real place. You know what I'm saying? So you know they're real. He went in there with his cash, probably all hundreds. And Jeanette, probably just got wet. That's what happened. That's what the fuck happened. Seen my nigga, young niggas, Mod Mollies, came in there. He probably went in there with 100 bands. Seen the first Dior's. That was probably the only Dior's they had. He put it on. He said, yeah, bless. Yeah, bless. These are Nia like Crody. He probably looked at one of the man and said, yo, these are Nia like.
So this is like, I'm clocking this now. This is Boondog basically telling the story of Surtee just going in there and spending 30K on shoes.
Crody, these are hard to lie. He's like, all right, fucking, I'm buying it. Yo, you have the bag too? Let me get the bag. He probably said, yo, let me get the bag too. You guys have the bag? Then he said, I like Crow. You have the sweater? Okay, I need that too. Then he just blew a bag. You know those niggas? They should have put him on Complex Con. Because, yo, I see niggas, real rappers, spend less on Complex Con. No cap. This shit, he should have got it on a video. He needed this for a vlog. You know what I'm saying? That's what he needed, I'm telling you. Who's that? Bugs in the cut? Come on. Well, actually, we're putting him on street code. Is Bugs on street code? But yeah, I'm telling you. So that's the story of what happened with 32 times. He walked into Stay Fresh. He said, listen, I have a video shoot. What's your most expensive shoe? They pulled out the Dior's. They're like, yeah, they probably thought he wasn't going to buy it because he probably looked like straight up the band or something. I know him. Probably looked like, who's this little nigga? He looks young. He's not going to buy it. He's so mod. Probably popped off 100 bands. They thought he wasn't going to buy it. He put on the shoe. He tried it on. It's probably too big. Probably like a size and a half too big. And he's like, fuck it. Yeah, they're blessed, Crody. They're blessed. They're blessed. They're blessed. You know. And then you just bought it. And then you fucking got the bag. And then you got the sweater. And then you know you have to get the.
So he was apparently out here breaking off $100,000. Okay, Canadian to be fair, but like he was really getting it like that. Clearly, whether that was hitman money, whether that was drug money, street money, I don't know, but he was clearly getting to the bag. Now, this is that other clip that was mentioned in that article where basically he was apparently flashing a gun in his Louis backpack. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, I guess that post has been deleted. I couldn't find it anywhere. But what this is has been going around. This is apparently one of the last things that he posted before he got shot. And this is like a meme that he reposted, basically saying when the ops tell you they're going to get you, but when they see you, when the ops tell you they're going to get you when they see you, but you've been waiting since the last time you said that. And saying the laughing emojis too is crazy. People are saying he had it coming. I wouldn't agree with that. But apparently right before he died, he'd actually dissed one of Top 5's close friends, DBK, who got murdered as well. Obviously, Top 5 had a friend called DBK, used to call him Drive-By King. He ended up getting killed in a shooting after Top 5 started beefing with some other guys in Toronto. And Surty basically posted this while listening to a diss track by Boondog and basically making fun of him in a Lambo and just like showing off basically that like we killed somebody or that somebody killed somebody that basically was in a wheelchair. This was very, very disrespectful. A lot of people felt like this was taking things a little bit too far. And some people feel like that is basically, you know, that basically is the energy that he was putting out. Now, there's been no indication that Top 5's crew or the GGGs had anything to do with this. This sounds like much more, you know, out of Toronto politics, but GGG fans are in the Reddit celebrating. Okay, I don't condone this. People are saying Surty's dead, GGG. They're basically celebrating, okay? People are saying his time was coming. A lot of people wanted his head. They're saying his ops are moving militant. That's British Columbia for you. It's guerrilla warfare. People are saying, how do you know GGG had something to do with this? Those guys in British Columbia have their own politics, don't forget. And he was apparently high ranking in the Brothers Keeper. Could have been a UN hit. And we haven't seen any dissing from the likes of Top 5. But allegedly, people connected to the UN crew did post this online, the cake with a bunch of champagne, basically saying 32X got smoked with a smiling face. People saying he heard the news and went straight to the bakery, right? That's really how they're moving out there. Now, interestingly enough, while this doesn't seem like it was anything to do with the beef between BFR and the GGGs, a lot of people have been reposting the footage of Top 5 being stabbed, and they're basically, you know, re-dragging that up, perhaps as a way of rubbing salt in the wounds on the other side. But interestingly enough, there's guys on Reddit that are basically begging Top 5 not to diss. They're saying, please, Top 5, don't diss, be the bigger person, post the RIP. That will really hurt BFR, make them feel guilty, all right? And this meme has been going around a lot. This is a meme of YG35, right? YG Tree 5, Big Tree 5, a rapper from Toronto who obviously had a friendship with Surty, and basically he is known for there being accused of a shooting in a blue t-shirt, and then he dropped a song afterwards talking about, if you mess with me, you're getting shot in my blue tee. So this meme has been going around, people saying it's time for YG to put his blue tee back on and get back. I don't condone that, all right? It doesn't sound like this has anything to do with that beef. But a lot of people are wondering, why the hell is Top 5 so silent when somebody that's so important from your enemies passes away? Surty was dissing John Doe. He was making fun of Drive-By King, right? He was making fun of the guy in a wheelchair that got killed on Top 5's side. So they're saying, why is Top 5 being so silent? I'm hearing that Top 5, maybe he's trying to be the bigger man. He ain't got nothing to do with this, so what's the point in claiming it? People saying BFR know they can't deal with the UN or the Scorpions. They'll probably take their anger out on Jungle or Town, so Top 5 is being smart. People saying they're rage baiting Top 5 into dissing someone he was once cool with. Apparently they were actually once cool, so I don't know why Top 5 would want to diss him. But as I said earlier, a lot of people are saying that the crew are basically going to be trying to kill 20 people in, you know, response to what happened to Surty. They're saying mission 20 for 1 for 32 times. They're saying YG will be the first person in the car, all right? And again, people are saying, look, he's not getting involved in these Vancouver politics, even if that's its homie. Why would they slide? This is British Columbia politics. Surty was a top member in the Brothers Keeper, and he did a lot of dirty work. The UN and Red Scorpions and Bebo have wanted him dead for years. It's not really their beef. But some people have been suggesting that maybe this was revenge for a guy called P-Man that got killed. People saying, did the towns fly out to British Columbia to get back for P-Man? This is one of the biggest plot twists of 2026. They're saying, how did they know before everyone? Because people were posting Long Live P-Man before the news of 32 Times death actually came about. Okay, a lot of people are pointing out the timing is a little bit unusual. Okay, and they're saying, how did these guys seem to know to post their brother, their homeboy, P-Man, just before what happened? Obviously, everybody knows that's what happens when somebody who had something to do with somebody getting killed dies. Everybody posts them as a tribute to basically say we got back. All right. But the one person who is dissing, okay, is Moneyboy. All right. He's basically been dissing. All right. He's basically saying when a dude's talking crazy, but you know his background, they're saying contract killer. He ain't got a real body. So he's basically saying, some people are saying that, you know, if you catching a body as a contract killing, that don't count as a body. I don't know if that's true. All right. But they're basically saying that maybe YG was catching contract killings, and that's how he's got all of his money. I don't know. Okay, they're saying this is the stupidest take ever. How is a hitman not a real killer? You're literally making a living killing people. They're saying dudes can't even claim their hats because they got paid. That's crazy. All right, you definitely can claim a hat if you are a contract killer. But anyway, all right, I need to be careful. I don't want YG on my top. All right, but what's interesting, okay, is that same person, Moneyboy, he basically dared BFR members to post 32 times. He said they all post you when you're alive and then disappear when you die. BFRK posts your artists. Now, it was ironic, okay? Some people are saying, oh, he's not lying, but it was ironic, right? Because actually everybody did. Everybody from BFR that is relevant, you know, posted. Not everybody is relevant, but like, this is Presser on his story posting Long Live 30, called him a spiller, okay? No one's shying away from it, okay? And Boondog, obviously the BFR big CEO, he posted a tribute to his fallen brother as well. And he actually commented on these allegations that they don't post their friends. He said, love you, Crody. Posted a picture of Cert. He said, the realest dude I know. They don't make them like you. We post our homies on this side when they die. So he's basically putting the boot in, saying, you guys, you stopped claiming your homies when they passed away, but we're actually paying tribute to our homies. Now, a lot of people found this interesting because Boondog was actually posting some thoughtful tweets around this time. Okay, let's not look at the caption, but like around this time, Boondog was tweeting some pretty introspective stuff. He said, trust gets you killed, love gets you hurt, and being real gets you hated. Hustle like your life depends on it, because it really does. Imagine if people prayed as much as they got on Instagram. It says, bees don't waste their time explaining to flies that honey is better than dookie. All right. So basically, anybody that knew Certy was posting him, they were posting their homie. Okay, you can't say that they weren't. This is YG Victory 5. All right. They're saying he speaks. They're saying let the games begin. You might have woken up a monster with this one. He posted that. Love you, Crody. And again, this meme. This is low key disrespectful, right? So we're not doing all that. But you know, people are basically saying, look, you got what you wanted. He posted it. All right. And basically, everybody's been saying, we need YG to get his blue tea back on. Now, I don't think this is fair. I don't think people should be saying that. I feel like this is a complicated situation. I don't think it's got anything to do with any of these rap beefs that we've been hearing about. Okay, but obviously when they say we need you to put on your blue tea, this is a reference to this song, Blue Tea. All right, so I'm on your block in my blue tea, big Glock in my blue tea. If I see a oppie getting shot in my blue tea, and I'm 2X gang, but I gave him more than a two-piece, all right? So they're saying this is a reference to YG's case. In 2017, he was identified by a suspect, or as a suspect by Toronto police in a shooting with a blue tea. He was cleared of all charges. There was a lack of evidence to prove it was him. All right. People saying it's a form of self-snitching, but it is what it is, man. Basically, yeah, it's crazy. So some people have been commenting and basically saying BFR need to slide, but clearly they're saying, look, will BFR do better than Dirk at sliding out of state? Hashtag slide for 30. Don't go out like smirk BFR. I feel like the discourse going on in the Torontology subreddit is very toxic at the moment, okay? I don't think anybody should throw their lives away over any of these situations. Clearly, this beef in the streets gets very real, but also I don't think this whole situation has anything to do with any of the stuff that we've been hearing about as far as the back and forths and the rap beefs. I think this is a whole... This is out of everybody's pay grade, I would say. I mean, this is a real crazy hit. Some people have been suggesting, though, that, you know, members affiliated with some of the guys have been popping up. They're saying Tall Up, okay, Tall Up Twin, formerly one side of the Tall Up Twins, obviously his twin passed away, if you know Toronto rap lore. They're basically saying, it says, it seems Tall Up is already in British Columbia, ready to milli rock on any block and get back for 32 times, okay? And this is a post that he made, apparently posting that he was in BC, mini rock on any block, word to bro. All right, he's basically showing love for 30. All right, And basically, it's, you know, basically people have all been denying that this had anything to do with the BFR and GGG beef. Okay, 32 times said dudes are acting like British Columbia politics aren't deeper than Toronto. Yeah, he was linked up with BFR, but dudes are acting like someone from Toronto made it happen. 1,000% backdoor from over there in BC. There ain't nothing to be discussed. All right, and basically, news has come out that somebody else had apparently also died in the same area, and it's all just a little bit unusual, right? It says madness. Police on the scene of another suspicious death in Surrey. According to a freelancer, police responded to a call of shots fired around noon and found a man shot on the side of the road. The man died at the scene. Despite life-saving efforts, a vehicle was also found burning in the 19,000 block of 40th Avenue. So whatever's going on over there in BC, in Surrey, British Columbia, is absolutely out of control. This is another one of Surtees' homies. This is not Get Back. This is calculated op removal. 3 people in 1 week. All right, 3 BKs, Brothers Keeper members in a week. They're saying, why is this surprising? He was a high-ranking BK member. Multiple people will probably pay the price for this. It says, yeah, back in 2019, 5 guys shot at Daniel Grewal, cousin of the Brothers Keeper founder Gigi, and hit him in his leg. All 5 of those guys died within the next couple of years. The surprising part was Surtee. A surprising part is Surtee was with Daniel when it happened, and he walked out unhurt. Naming the people, they're saying Slim, Scrappy, Renzo, Baby, Huncho. And they're saying that, you know, there's all types of politics going on in British Columbia. It's getting very, very complicated. Okay, so if you found any of that interesting, okay, let me know. I could do a deeper dive into this crew, the Brothers Keepers versus the UN. This is definitely a very, very serious beef. This goes way beyond rap and drill music. This is real life organized crime in Canada. Okay, it's very, very serious out there. Now, no disrespect to anybody involved. My condolences to anybody that was friends with Surtee. Rest in peace to him. You know, this was definitely a really sad news for everybody to receive. I'll be real, I didn't know a lot about him until this news came out. I'm starting to learn more and more, and I do feel like there's definitely a lot more to this story. And I'm actually glad to see that we're not seeing the likes of Top 5 trolling and dissing, because I don't think that's what's needed right now. I feel like the politics and the streets of Toronto, you know, they're getting to be in a better place, and I do feel like I'd love to just see more guys from those areas and from these backgrounds focusing on the music. I know that Boondog's got more music coming out. He was seen recording with Jack Boy and Mons Malone in Dubai. Like great artists from the US and the UK and Canada all linking up. Like that is definitely a big move. Press obviously had his new Press Machine mixtape part 2 out recently, and you know, that was major. I really enjoyed that project, and I feel like he's just warming up to go on an incredible run. And obviously Top 5, he's the internet's biggest troll, but at the same time, you know, he's doing his thing with the streaming lane. Obviously he's recovered from his injuries, and I just want to see him doing music, streams, all of the positive stuff. I just want to see everyone get positive, man. Canada needs to heal, hopefully. So anyway, if you found that interesting, man, no disrespect involved. Rest in peace to everybody who lost their lives on both sides of all of these gang wars, and hopefully things get better in the future. If you found that update interesting, let me know down below. I could dig more into some of the Canadian situations that are going on. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.